Hi everyone. I decided to fill you in on why things are slow coming from me for parts and stuff like that for the TXs that are tuning and pro sport bits and things like that. And it's because of I've had some issues with my health. So I think the easiest thing is I put a video up and explain what's been wrong with me and what is continuing to be wrong with me. So this has been going on for well over 18 months. It's probably coming up to 2 years. It will be 2 years in May of 23. Life hasn't been fun, basically. I've tried to carry on living a normal life, but it's been hard. So I'll explain why things have radically slowed down and what I'm hoping to do to speed things up. Maybe we'll see. I can't apply pressure because it just gets too much. But anyway, like most people, I had my jabs, and the first one was in March 2021. That one went without issue, really. The problems for me started on with my second jab, which was in May 2021. I developed what I can only call tendonitis. Now, there is such a thing as tendonitis, but the doctors wouldn't tell me what was going on. They they just basically offered me painkillers. But at the end of the day, what happened was the tendons from my legs that attached to my hips all became inflamed. Now, what I mean by inflamed is massively inflamed. I could not walk. The pain was excruciating. And this lasted for weeks. And it would move from my left leg to my right leg and from my right leg to my left leg and then be both legs, and then it would go back into my left leg. And when it was on the outside of my legs, my you could actually see the inflammation under the skin between my hip bones and say about 10 inches down my legs on the outside of my legs. When it moved on into my groin, that more affected the sciatic nerves than anything. But at the end of the day, the pain felt like it was in my bones. It wasn't in my tendons, it was in my bones. But anyway, that actually began to ease, and it began to ease around November of 2021. And I'd been on to the doctor numerous times and basically wasn't going anywhere. So, like most people, then I was summoned in for a booster shot. And I had my booster shot in December of 2021. Within a week, pretty much 4 or 5 days, I woke up with the most horrendous sciatica. I don't think I've ever experienced pain quite like it. I was due to go snowboarding in January. I try and go for at least 1 week a year, and obviously this was booked because my symptoms from the tendonitis had begun to subside, and I thought life was slowly turning back to normal, and I'd started walking again to try and regain some fitness. And I was fearful now with this sciatica that I would not be able to go on this trip. I obviously contacted the doctor, very, very upset. I couldn't walk, couldn't clean myself properly, couldn't bend, couldn't twist. The sciatica was down both legs and into the feet. It was quite horrendous. Now, I'd not done any lifting, no twisting, just gentle walking up until this point. There was no reason for anything else to have happened. I had blood tests at this time, and they found that my immunoglobulin M levels were on the floor, dangerously low. Now, this is your immune system, and when the IgM levels are low, this has been explained to me, that means that you are very susceptible to other infections, viruses, all this sort of stuff. Basically, my body was fighting something quite bad. They couldn't tell me what it was fighting, but I had something. I had MRI scans about this time. They actually could still see inflammation in tendons in my hips. And they also found inflammation around the base of my spine. Not on the bone itself, but around the base of my spine. So you get prescribed naproxen, which is an anti-inflammatory, which can be quite dangerous if taken in strong doses and for a long time. But I took it when and if I needed it and didn't push it. Obviously took things very easy. For my snowboarding trip, I actually took the maximum dose permissible for the week before the trip and the week of the trip, and was actually able to function somewhat and actually had a reasonably good time with my friends. It was a big morale booster, a well-being, mental well-being booster. But obviously I was fearful of continuing to take tablets at that level. When I got back, I decreased the dose quite substantially, and the inflammation massively came back. So this is now spring of 2022, and I'm in severe pain back again, unable to concentrate because the pain is so severe, unable to work for quite a long time, or very little work, but unable to stand for long periods of time. I could stand for around 20 minutes and then would have to rest. Quite substantial pain. This situation began to improve though, and subsequent blood tests coming into the spring of 2022 showed that my IgM levels had began to rise. So I was basically coming back to normal. And with those IgM levels now rising, the sciatica and the back pain began to ease. But, and there's always a but, I then started to notice that I'd become hyper allergic to my dogs, which I'd never been allergic to my dogs before. And this actually started around the Christmas time, December 21, but I really noticed it as my IgM levels started to come back up. The allergy massively increased, and it transpires that there is I don't know what you call it. You can develop what they call MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome, which is an autoimmune response. And I believe, again, doctors haven't confirmed this, I believe that's what happened, because all of a sudden I've suddenly become massively allergic to my dogs. Now, I've always been allergic to my cat, poor Billy. I do my best to sit with him, but I can't have him on my lap for too long. But the dogs, I've never been allergic to dogs. All of a sudden, massively allergic. Symptoms are like full-on flu, severe headaches, can't concentrate, can barely open eyes. It was like flu and some. Now, upon researching, the treatment for MCAS is antihistamines, which you can use over-the-counter antihistamines. So I started on a regimen of antihistamines alongside all the natural anti-inflammatory supplements and everything else I've been taking, which cost a fortune. I also noticed an inherent weakness. I have suffered with chronic fatigue since contracting Epstein-Barr virus as a younger man in my 30s. And it reminded me of that, where your body is tired, because obviously your body is fighting something, or working against something, and even though you're not moving around so much, you become fatigued. It's a debilitating situation. You can't understand why you're fatigued, but you know you are fatigued. You're just worn out continually. So the sciatica eventually just vanished all on its own. And by the way, they were offering me surgery on my spine and all sorts of stuff. Glad I didn't take that up. So the sciatica disappears. My IgM levels come back up. The spinal inflammation goes down. The tendonitis, the inflammation on my tendons goes away. So now we're into the summer of 2022. I'm suffering with this, what I believe is MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, this increasing allergy. And slowly, the weakness that I'm feeling is beginning to subside. As I take antihistamines, I get some relief from that. And I worked through the summer and into the winter to alleviate that. Now, in amongst summer through to winter, I actually caught COVID, like most of us did. That set me back 10 weeks. Very, very much a shortness of breath. The actual COVID lasted for probably about 2 weeks, but 8 weeks thereafter, I found it extremely hard to exercise, to build in condition. Couldn't breathe properly. But we battled on, and into winter, and then over this Christmas just gone, I caught the flu. Now I believe it's H2N3, but I might be wrong anyway, the strain. But it's brutal. And I think that my immune system at the moment is under constant battle. Now, obviously, the medical fraternity, my doctors, haven't confirmed this. Nobody wants to speak. Nobody wants to admit to anything. It's very frustrating. It actually affects you in a mental way, that your frustration spills over at every opportunity. But I know from how I felt after contracting EBV all those years ago, I feel that my immune system is fighting continually. And things like a very potent flu strain like H2N3, if that's what the strain is, that really floored me. And again, because life has to go on, I booked to go snowboarding with my friends again, and I've just got back. And I was absolutely very, very ill with the flu. And I managed to get the flu, what I thought was under control, right up to the point where I was going away, but still quite a severe cough. So I ended up in the apartment that we were staying in my own room out the way, so that my coughing wouldn't wake my friends up. But anyway, I had a great week away. The fresh air seems to do me a world of good, apart from near enough like a 12 or 14, 16 hour delay coming back, which has absolutely floored me. I'm at the point where I feel as though flu's back again. Extremely tired. I've just had 2 days of sleeping for nearly 12 hours each day. So what I'm basically saying is I'm still trying to put parts and kits and advise people with my business, but I'm finding it very hard to actually get motivated with feeling quite under the weather. And I'm hoping that my health will improve so I can get busy again, because I hate being poorly, like most people do. And it's frustrating that we can't get answers. Now there's thousands of people like me who are not getting answers. And it's frustrating, really frustrating. But anyway, now you know why things have dramatically slowed down, and I have many people waiting for answers and advice and to purchase things from me and things like this. And right now it's very hard for me to get these parts together. The other major thing is obviously the Royal Mail were hacked, and all international shipments are still not being advised pretty much. So international customers, you're gonna have to wait. Now, customers in the UK, I'm gonna try and work through the last few kits that I've got left. I've got some installs to do here, and I've got customers waiting for these kits to go out for DIY fit. I'm also waiting for kits to come back, parts to come back to build more kits. Now, I only have a few kits left here. I've got way more customers waiting than kits that I have available in stock. So there's going to be a way. Unfortunately, the way the world revolves now, things just take 5 times longer. People are becoming ill. The gentleman who does the honing on my comp tubes was severely ill over Christmas, and he's way behind on his work. So it's just a waiting game. It's just a waiting game. I am looking to bring a new version of my kits out also, which is in the works, but I'm not going to go into that right now. I'm continually evolving my parts, as most people know, and hopefully this will prove beneficial. Then again, once I've tested it and it might not, I might drop the idea, but we'll see. But anyway, that's my story and the reason why things are taking so long. And I hope this answers some questions from people. I haven't shipped anything for probably about a month. I have not stopped business. Some of the shooters in Europe think that because I'm poorly, I've stopped my business. I haven't stopped the business. The business is still functioning. It's just I've got to take it easy and then build back up again. It's been a frustrating near 2 years, and unfortunately, other members of my family are now suffering very similar to me now, and that's frustrating because I know what they're going through. But anyway, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all having a good new year, and please bear with me. Things should get better. I hope to start ramping up and get back to my 2 or 3 kits a week that I push out, which I only work part time, remember, and it was only about 2 or 3 kits a week. So I hope to push back to that soon. But until my health is a little bit better and I can concentrate a bit better and I'm not so tired, then things are going to go a bit slow. I hope that's okay. Right, there you go.